Okay, let's go ahead and work on the first exit ticket. And the first exit ticket is just going through and solving a system of equations. So what's important about this is that you have to make sure that you get onto Desmos.com and you start working from there. So you will have access to it with your on the test. And so you have to make sure that first off, of course, you have an account. If you don't have an account, then you probably want to create one before the test comes up on either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And that way, then you'll be all set. So, for example, in this case now, once you bring up Desmos, you'll log in as yourself. You can see that I'm already logged in here. You're going over to the graphing calculator. You're going to type in, when you're dealing with the system, you're going to type in the two equations there. And so the first one is y equals 2x plus 3. So y equals 2x plus 3. And notice that it creates a line for you, and you can see some information about that particular line. The 3 is giving me the y-intercept, so I can see where it's crossing the y-axis, and I can actually see that point, or at least kind of get close. There we go, 0, 3, and so I can see that particular one. Let's go back over and take a look at the other equation. 3x minus y equals 4. So 3x minus y equals 4 is my other one. I think that's what it said. Just going to go back and check it one more time just to make sure I'm good. 3x minus y equals 4. And we want to figure out where they cross. So notice that I can't really see it on there, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to try to figure out where they cross. And you'll see that they cross if you click on that particular point at 7 and 17. So if I come back over here to my worksheet, or of course you'll be on Google Forms when you're doing this. If you come back over to there, then you can go ahead and put in that value. So what does that mean? That means that x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 17, and we can't see that point anymore. So 7 and 17. Remember that x always comes first, y always comes second. So I'm going to go ahead and label that on here just to indicate that, so that you remember that x always comes first, y always comes second. And if you're putting it down as a point, as a solution, make sure you put it in parentheses. For number 2, you just have to go over here. In this particular case, now I can solve this graphically, but you can also see that I can solve for x directly here, because we've learned this. If 3x equals 9, all I have to do is divide both sides by 3, because that becomes 1. So that's a 1 there. So I have 1x, or just x. If I divide 9 divided by 3, that's equal to 3. So I found my x value. And then what I can do, but again, you can graph these. So it's just as easy to go in and graph these if that's what you want to do. And so in this particular case, I can then plug in x. So 2, notice that I have an x here. So I'm going to put in my 3 minus y equals 1. 2 times 3 is 6 minus y equals 1. I'm then going to subtract 6. So anytime you're solving these types of problems, we're trying to isolate the variable. And so we always want to move over the number that is either adding or subtracting. And notice that there's kind of an addition there. That's why we do the subtraction there. So those two, of course, become 0. And anytime I have 0, I don't have to rewrite it. So minus y equals, if I subtract those two numbers, I get negative 5. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1, and I get y equals 5. So my answer would be up here, x equals 3, and y equals 5. So that would be my answer. That's how you solve both of those. Again, it depends on if you want to just graph them, or if you actually want to go through and solve it, especially if it's a pretty straightforward problem.